artist formerly known as Prince Andrew, was arrested and held for a few hours, then let go. And this is so interesting. They got Prince Andrew for giving trade secrets away. Well, whatever, but you crossed the line with trade secrets. That's... Apparently, Prince Andrew tipped off Epstein that there were lucrative mining deals to be had in Afghanistan.
QAnon was wrong about one big thing. They thought Donald Trump was the one to take down this secret pedophile ring, when he has mentioned 38,000 times in files. The fact that QAnon thought that guy was going to take down the secret pedophile ring when he's right in the middle of it, I think was clearly wrong.
Who's the president right now? President Trump. Who signed the order to release the files? President Trump did.
Well, to be fair, to show I don't have Trump derangement syndrome, this also came out that the sheriff in Palm Beach testified that in 2006, Trump called and said, everybody knows what's going on there. I got the hell out of there, and you should stop doing this.
I was told that this guy is a pastor, this Democrat candidate running against Jasmine. But sometimes I wonder, watching him on Joe Rogan, he actually said there is no place in the Bible that says abortion is banned. From that day, anything he says, I don't believe.
So I get suspicious when anybody, whether it's a televangelist or a politician, tells me that something is central to my faith when Jesus never talks about it. To me, that should, I think, ring alarm bells as to what is the agenda here. What is someone trying to get across? And I think if we're looking at the last 40, 50 years, the religious right has made a concerted effort to make an abortion the two biggest issues for Christians. And, you know, the Southern Baptist Convention was pro-choice until the late 1970s. So this idea that to be a Christian means you have to be anti-gay and anti-abortion, there really is no historical, theological, biblical basis for that opinion.
Well, when was abortion even invented?
I believe you've seen this. This argument came up as a result of the fact that these files came out and him struggling to connect that, the president has something in things like that. Lauren Babel made it clear, the president signed it, that the very first day that this file should be released, everything. At some point, the way B is struggling to make jokes here, a lot of people don't find it funny. Some say he's struggling to just make jokes like, he doesn't care about the victims. That is what I saw on Twitter, a lot of people going off on Bill Maher after this segment. If you remember, these past few days, we have been talking about The View actually coming out to say, we are in the fights, we have this, Whoopi Goldberg struggling to justify. At some point, you realize Democrats will always struggle every single time to play the card in such a way that it can favor them politically. If you notice, they don't talk about their own people that are inside the fights. They always focus about the president's name. That should tell you a lot about these people.
It gave me a sense of satisfaction for the survivors, because I've got to feel that there's just this lack of closure and this sense that this government, our government here, continues failing them. And so it's good to see that at least somewhere in the world there's accountability. People that are being held accountable. And here in the United States, we like to tell ourselves, and we tout it all the time, nobody is above the law. Everybody is equal under the eyes of the law. That is false. The case has proven that to be false. He was not treated equally under the law. If that had been some poor Latin guy, he had been in jail the first time for the rest of his life because it was a rich guy who was highly connected and could hire all of these fancy lawyers. He went off and had a sweetheart deal that then enabled him to come out and victimize hundreds of more girls for another decade. And it made me feel that much more ashamed for the way the U.S. government has failed survivors and victims for decades and for 4 administrations over. It's not just Trump. It was before him, it was Biden. Before him, it was Obama. And before him, it was George W. Bush. It was under George W. Bush where he got the sweetheart deal from Alex Acosta. I'm pissed as hell at Merrick Garland. I think that guy was thinking about nothing but his own reputation and didn't want anything he did to look political, so he didn't do anything.
Whoopi Goldberg is getting all defensive because she's getting dragged over the fact that her name is mentioned. My friend, you get treated the way you treated President Trump.
I think the part most people like myself are looking for is an accountability for the people that had a depth of relationship, the timing of that relationship, and the nature of that relationship. Nobody wants to know that young girls were victimized, and because of power and money, people turned their cheek. Like, was this covered up? I think no one should be above scrutiny, no amount of status should soften abuse, and no system should protect the powerful over victims.
Now, you, my dear, is entitled to the same treatment that you've given everybody else, all of the Republicans, including President Trump, and accusing them of doing things. But you call for the files to be released, the files were released, and you all are mentioned. So I don't care who you are, celebrity or not. If you hurt a child or if you knew about children being hurt, you should be held accountable. Now, the same way you guys push for cancel culture, I think that Whoopi Goldberg, you might want to think be continuing on as a host of The View, because your name is all over those files. And there's no way, and I'm not accusing you of doing anything because you have a right to defend yourself, but there's no way that you guys have partied, went to the island, and did not know. Come on now.
Yeah, it is actually embarrassing sometimes to watch these people. Like, seriously, Whoopi and the entire crew spend time, calling out Trump, every single day. Now, it is being reported that Whoopi's name is on that file. Whoopi came out to clarify, to talk about this. I don't know if this is just the moment the View is realizing that your name can be on those files without any incriminating evidence or incriminating things about you. Yeah. It is now they're realizing it.
Why doesn't this guy Comer want the Clintons to testify in public if that's true?
Well, I mean, you have to have a deposition first. It's what happened in Jack Smith. So having a deposition, and that deposition will be made public because the Clintons are, in fact, trying to twist things and get sound bites from a public hearing. So having a deposition allows each individual to have different members of their teams in there asking the right questions, the hard questions, to then gather it for
Do you
a
want
hearing.
to see the whole thing on television, their whole testimony? Because
Yes.
I do.
Yes, I do.
And
I do.
that's what would happen with a public hearing. And I think that's what the Clintons are asking for. What the government is asking for and what the Republicans are asking for is more in line with what you're suggesting, Savannah. A private, closed-door deposition, and then bits and pieces get to dribble out. I, myself, would prefer to see a public hearing. And what I also would like to see is not only transparency, but even-handed dealing with different people. You have several people that have been subpoenaed by Congress. Many of them have been allowed to just provide either a deposition or an affidavit, and then the subpoenas have been released. The Clintons have both provided affidavits, yet they still want them to come behind closed doors, and be deposed. I say no. The Clintons have done everything that everybody else has done. Now, let's make it public. Let's hear it.
Who makes that decision, though, Sonny?
It would be Congress. And the other thing that I will say, just to put a button on it, we're saying, okay, 3 million documents have been released. Well, there are 6 million documents that exist.
But
where are the
also
other 3 million documents? If we're talking about transparency, let's see them all. Let's see everything.
I would say that million documents are transparent. A lot of things that aren't being put out are being held up by the courts in there that they're trying to hold out. There's a lot of things that are being held out. And the last administration very well could have put all this out there. If they thought they had a smoking gun for the president, they would have put it out here before the election.
They could have put it out. It crosses administrations. The fault is on multiple administrations, but...
Thank you guys for always being sharing out the videos. God bless you abundantly. As of the short clip you see at the end, that is for the white algorithm.
Gervais once told the award show crowd, "Don't use it as a platform to make a political speech. You're in no position to lecture the public about people."
A person's home, it's very easy to understand.
When I look at that video, I don't see both sides in a dogmatic.
The Golden Globe for Best Editing goes to the Justice Department.
This is for her. This is for the people in the United States who are terrorized and scared today.
Yes. Of course, this is for the mother.
Babies are upstairs watching. Y'all better be off them damn phones and watching me.
Thank you, everyone. I'm a little in shock about that.
Maduro.
Let your hatred and
Sit this one out.
Well, these guys.
There you go.
$1,500.
Let's see if they get the.
Well,
I want to see them get it.
MAGA's going to break up because of Donald Trump's criticism of Rob.
Can sit at either place. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
So you and your husband were friends.
Everybody knew that wasn't true. A dangerous relative as a likely suspect. A tip that led to her brother Nick. Rob Reiner and Nick had a heated argument the night before at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party, being back on zone. In one incident, she said,
We should have said nothing. The United States to take this family tragedy in which the president had made no comment.
When people ought to have.
Yes.
Absolute horror.
Hi, Mel Gibson. I'm in Italy.
There is a quota system.
This is my 6th and last year hosting the Grammys. Song of the Year. Congratulations, Billie Eilish.